Welcome to Divine Downloads. I'm your host, Cassandra One, and this is the show where we help you make the vision you have for your life into your reality. And I know something that so many of us women desire is that feeling of radiant, glowing, beautiful skin, right? And I know that especially out here in California, there's a lot of different, plastic surgery and procedures and stuff that people do for that. But I really wanted to bring on one of my dearest friends and my personal skin and beauty guru, Cora Skinner. She is the co-founder of ARAYA Brands. She is a mama, she is a model, and she has, just since I've known her, been so fascinated with all the different ways we can look radiant and glow from the inside out. She has so many beautiful holistic suggestions. We're going to talk about everything from face yoga to how your mind space affects your radiance, to actually routines and products you can use and different all the different things accessible. We're going to cover the whole gamut. So I cannot wait to dive into this episode. Enjoy. Cora, I am so excited to have you on. I feel like you have been my little secret weapon skin guru in my back pocket for so many years. And it is just like, you're just a wealth of wisdom and now with the Array Advisors, and I feel like you are really just this like beautiful advocate for skin health that is so much more than just like, yes, we have all these like incredible treatments that we can do, but also just natural ways that we can increase our radiance and we can, look beautiful and youthful. And so I really wanted to kick off with that because I think, we're both, in our mid 30s, and a lot of people that are listening that are, here are anywhere between like 20 and 50, I would say, right?
Okay.
As far as my audience goes. And I want to talk a little about what are the things that we can do let's maybe kick off with what are some daily practice things just in like our everyday life that we can do to make sure our skin is looking radiant and I hate saying the word like anti-aging because like why we shouldn't be so scared of aging.
Yes.
But keeping us having that kind of like youthful, radiant skin, and as whatever you want to call it, plump and great.
Plump and juicy.
Possible.
Your word.
What are things that we should just pay attention to in our, our day-to-day life?
Well, first off, thank you for saying that. You are also my guru for so many things, more internal things and mindset things, which incidentally, I think is a big, big step in looking radiant and youthful is like the thoughts you're telling yourself, how you envision yourself, the things you say to yourself as you're putting on your makeup, as you're looking at yourself before you go. Are you saying nice things? Are you saying mantras? Are you like, oh my God, this is here, I'm stressing about this, I'm aging. And yeah, the word anti-aging is, we try not to use it that much in the industry. I like using timeless beauty because that's like, we're all aging. We're all getting older every day. You're older, you're younger than you'll ever be today. Very sad. But yeah, we don't like to think about that, but we like to think of timeless, youthful, radiant. And I do think that so many things, we're trying to, the marketing thing is to sell you all these products that you have to buy. But my thing is so much is controllable within not maybe free, but like pretty reasonable things that you can do. You can get outside, you can be with nature, you can ground, you can eat really healthy foods, you can drink a lot of water, you can get exercise. These are things that don't cost a lot. They're not super drastic. They're not like peels or lasers or microneedling. They're just things that are nice and restorative to your body and will help you look good from the inside out. And that's my biggest thing is like most everything starts internally. Like when I work on clients, I never see anyone who's got horrible skin who's super healthy. And I don't see anyone who has great skin who is very unhealthy. Your skin is really a reflection of what's happening inside and it's a reflection of your health.
Absolutely. It's such a holistic
Yes.
organism. And I think they always say that like the skin in a lot of the holistic health books that I've read, they say like, your skin is kind of like, it's an indicator, right? Like you
Yes.
were saying, like it kind of
Yes.
gives you an idea of like where you're at with things. And
Oh yeah.
I think, I love that you mentioned, because I think I definitely sometimes forget about this, and I think a lot of people do. But how the thoughts that we think are
Mhm.
also, so because think about it, like so many wrinkles are really stress lines,
Stress lines,
right?
tension and
And
stress. Yeah.
tension in our face. And like when we go, like I know if I've gone like, and on some like meditation retreat, or I'm doing like juicing and meditating, and I'm like, I literally look like I'm 18 again.
Yes.
Right? And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right? And it's such a like, again, it's like an easy accessible thing. Not everyone can pay like $2,000 to get whatever like the
Right.
latest like treatment is, but like we all have the power to keep ourselves well hydrated, eat good
Mhm.
fruits and vegetables. And it's so, I think it's one of those things where it's like you don't even have to go into super detail. It's pretty obvious, right? Like you
Yeah.
eat fruits and vegetables, your skin is going to be, reflect that. And if you're eating, you know, like when I like hold up like an apple and like a piece of bread, it's like, okay, I know which one is going to
Right.
make my skin
Right.
happier, and that's really where we should be starting, where I feel like, and Cora is gonna give us the lowdown, because I am really clueless when it does come to products. It's something that like never came naturally to me. So mostly I what I own is what Cora has recommended.
Yes, I love it.
And so we'll get to that. If you're like
Yeah.
want to know about products, don't worry.
Right.
But I
We'll
think
get
it's
there.
so
That's like the
important.
next layer. That's like
Right.
advanced level product.
Advance but it's
Yeah.
also like if you're not doing the foundational
Yes,
things.
exactly. Yes. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not eating right, if you're not drinking water, there's no product that is going to save you. Like I can put peels on you all day long. I can like exfoliate you. It's just not going to happen. And I'm glad you mentioned the thing about meditation and tension, because so much of like stress is held here in your jaw, or it's in your forehead, or it's somewhere. And that's what creates wrinkles over time, is making that same expression over and over. Maybe you're squinting into the sunlight, maybe you're frowning. A lot of times if you're in yoga and they say like release your jaw, you realize, oh my God, I was holding on to my jaw. I didn't know. And that can cause this to pull down, and then you get sagging skin. So if you can do facial massage, which is totally free, if you can do face yoga, which is totally free, you can do a lot for your skin, and you can really relax those muscles and keep the collagen fibers and elastin fibers more smooth and pliable, which is what makes you look younger.
Yeah, so I've seen this face yoga is like a huge
Yes.
trend right now. And as someone that kind of grew up when I was like when I had puberty and like in college and stuff, I broke out so bad. And I
Mm,
felt like, I mean, now looking back, I'm like, "Eh," but at the time I was like, I eat so healthy. I
right.
wash my face, I do all the things, right? I was a stress case. So I think that was
Oh,
probably a big
so it's
part of it.
internal. Yeah.
But
And I mean,
we've kind of been programmed, like from if anybody's
mhm,
ever gone through that phase of life,
yes.
I was programmed, do not touch your face.
Yeah. Good.
Like
Okay.
whatever you do, don't touch your face. But now it's like
Uh-huh.
this trend, like touch your face all the time. Like when you're
Yes,
doing your face
clean
yoga
with
stuff.
clean hands. Yes, don't touch them with dirty hands. That still stands true.
So what is the for face yoga? And I think Corey, you have some face yoga videos out there on your Instagram.
Yes, I have them not on my personal, although I post them sometimes, but on my business account, which is araya.visors. I'll do face yoga, different like routines. Like if you want to do it for your labial folds, if you want to do it for forehead wrinkles, I'll have different videos for it. They look very silly, but they really work. And but a lot of it is also intuitive. If you start moving around on your face and touching things and feeling where there's tension and knots, it should feel really good. And that should be an alert that it's like, oh gosh, that's where tension is. You can just start doing like weird movements in the car. You can go like that with your, just
I do
anything to
like this
stretch it
all the
out.
time. It's
Uh-huh.
like stretch out that
Mm-hmm.
upper
Yeah.
upper
Yeah. Get
lip
rid of the
thing.
Yeah, and everybody's is different. Everyone has their lines in different places. So studying your face and seeing where it is and then thinking, okay, where does that line come from? Obviously, like it's tight, so let me stretch it. Like you intuitively can know.
And so, how would you recommend incorporating that? And is it something that you do, you know, in the evening? Is it something that you would do with, like, for someone that's just like really new to this, you know,
Yeah.
how often would you do it? Do you use, a specific oil or product when you're doing it? Do you use, now you see those like, rose quartz or jade rollers or
Yeah,
gua
guashas.
sha?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the best time is probably whenever you can fit it in. But I think nighttime is really good because you've been using your face all day long. It's sore, it's tight, it needs to be relaxed. So it can feel really nice at nighttime. It's also really good to like, release cortisol and get your body ready for sleep. So I like to do it. I wash my face, my hands are already washed. I put on a serum and I do it with the serum. I'll either use my hands, I'll use a gua sha, I'll use a jade roller. I switch it up. I have all these funky fun like tools and I'll use them. There's something called a new vibe, which Nurse Jamie makes that I really like. That's like vibration that helps. But yeah, even your fingers, like fingers are free and you can do it with that. I think nighttime's probably best and do it nightly, just like 3 to 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be something crazy.
Yeah, I
Whatever
think
will
it's
keep you doing it.
yeah. That's how I feel about meditation. I'm always like, I don't
Yes.
care when you do it or how
Yes.
long. Just try to do it
Exactly.
at some point of the day consistently, and that
Yes.
will
And
be
tell
what
yourself you'll
matters.
do it for a minute. And then if you do it for more, then you already won. It's like a little success.
I like that. That's kind of what
Yeah.
I need because I'm like, but
And it gets overwhelming. But if you incorporate it and stack it with other things, like you already have to use your hands to put on your serum and your lotion. So do it while you're doing that. And you can kind of like multitask.
and I think like you were saying before with the words that you speak to yourself, it could be like a little self-love practice at the end of
Yes.
the day, and like
Yes.
come up with some affirmations, right?
Yes.
Just
Affirmations.
like
Great. Yeah. And I
when
want to
it
share a story, which is like when I worked at a med spa, I would notice the people who called in who were so frantic to get appointments, who were like, I need this Botox, I need this filler, I'm rushing. And their energy was so just stressed out and with a huge emphasis on like not enough time. And when they would come in, it was always the people that looked way older than their age. And I just
wow.
had this thought that like they're rushing through life. They're not letting the moment live. They're not like breathing into the present moment. So their hour feels much shorter than a normal person who might be more zen. So their life is like being sped up. And so their aging is accelerating. Maybe I'm just being loopy, but I swear that I saw that pattern happen.
I so
Yeah.
believe that. I so because it's our relationship to time
Yes.
fundamentally, right? And our
Yes.
relationship to aging is our relationship to time. And they
Mm-hmm.
even did, there's a book I really love called Goddesses Never Age,
Oh, I got to read
by
that. I've heard you
Christian
talk about
Nagano.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, lots of stuff she mentions in there is similar to, kind of what you've already said with the, how important like diet is, hydration is, the thoughts you think are like having these
Mm-hmm.
mindful moments. But she really also talks about like how when we have like societal markers, right? Like let's say we turn 40 or we turn 50 or whatever, we have these like numbers that we associate with like this is like have to
Mm-hmm.
like be a certain way or because I'm this age. And I feel like we're really like our generation, I think is really pushing back on that, is pushing
Yes.
back on like what 40 looks like or what 50 looks
Oh,
like, or
yeah.
what 60 look like. And I mean, there are even people from the generation like, I mean, like, look at Jane Fonda, like she's like
Oh my gosh.
80 something, looks phenomenal, right? And is
Yes.
still like slaying it. Um, but they're like that generation, they were more like the trailblazers who really
Yes.
did that, right? And it is
Yeah.
so much of if we let our I feel like it's similar to like the time, right? It's like what are we allowing into our
Mhm.
psyche to make
Mhm.
us feel a certain way? I have some clients that are in their 50s that literally look like they could be in their 30s, right?
Wow.
And
They probably
it's
act young and think young and
yeah,
yeah.
they're like they're vegan, they do yoga, they
Uh-huh.
meditate,
Right.
and they, it's not like they're not like ascended masters, obviously they still have like life stress and things
Yes.
that they're dealing with and stuff, but it really does, it goes a long way, that those foundational tools. Okay,
Hmm.
so
And
we're
I think also like trying new things even when you're older and having that youthful mindset of like, it's never too late to do this. It's never too late to, yeah, I think those things are really important too. Mindset.
absolutely, yeah, because it keeps you young, right?
Hmm.
It keeps you young in spirit, and I think, you know, they they always, there's like that saying, I forget who said it, but I think it's from the 50s, like happiest girls are the prettiest girls,
Mm,
right? And there's
yeah.
something so true to that though.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is
It makes
something so
me,
true that when you, yeah,
no, go
go.
ahead. No, you go.
I was just saying, like, it's something so true that when you're really doing something that lights you up,
Yeah.
when you're really feeling just happy, whether it's like happy in your work or happy because you're trying a new thing or happy because you're hanging out with your girlfriends or you're playing with your kids and you're just like,
Right.
happy, you are so radiant and so
Hmm.
beautiful. And we forget that, like, that is like such a natural magic that we
Yes.
all can tap into, that is way more powerful
Yes.
than, you know, lasers or Botox and
Right.
all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because it just like emanates from within and without, because it's a holistic process of that.
Yeah. And on that note, like my style icons and my like age icons are always like Sophia Loren and Gina Lollobrigida. They had like such feminine, beautiful, they enjoyed life. They ate their pasta. They like were in Italy on the beaches sometimes, you know, getting some sun in
Yeah, we got to
moderation,
talk about
having
that.
some wine. Yes, let's talk about that. Having some wine, just everything in moderation, but they're really enjoying life and they weren't
Yeah,
restricting themselves. And they looked so young and so gorgeous and so just like vibrant and youthful. Even though, you know, they're like 60, 70, they're not trying to look 20. They weren't
yeah,
getting tons of plastic surgery and trying to look 20 or 30. They were looking like mature, beautiful women.
yeah. Absolutely. I agree. And there's something, there's a big, you know, one of the things that I've noticed in myself, just because I'm always doing stuff like this, like I'm always on Zoom or recording podcast or on
Hmm.
Instagram, right? Is that I don't know if other people can tell as much because they don't see, I don't know, well, maybe they do see my face every day. I don't know. But like I see myself a lot,
Yes.
but like I can read where I'm at, like
Oh,
emotionally on my face. It's like, oh, I see a picture of me from like, it could be like a month ago or 3 weeks. I can look at myself and know like what was going on emotionally by
yes.
how radiant or not so radiant I look, let's say.
Yes, yes. Same. I mean, I modeled for 20 years. And so I'll look sometimes at photos where I'm like, oh, I was going through a terrible breakup and I looked so unhappy and like a lot older, you know? And then when I started feeling more radiant, feeling more like myself, I actually started looking more youthful than I had like in my 20s. And I also wasn't like living life right in my 20s. You know, I wasn't necessarily eating the best. I was traveling a lot, like drinking. And so it just like all makes you look so much older than you should, you know?
This is a great experiment. Anyone that's listening that wants to try
Yes.
this out, I highly recommend it. It could be within the same week, right? Because we all have like,
Hmm.
you know, if you have a day where you're just like, oh, this is like a crap day, you know, like I'm really stressed. And so it doesn't have to be anything like incredibly dramatic, right? It could
Right.
just be like, I'm just having a day where like it feels like
Hmm.
I don't have enough time and I'm whatever. And like take a few pictures of yourself that day,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And I would venture to say, even like try to smile. Like don't try to make it like excessively, you know,
Right.
sad or anything like that. Take a few smiling selfies, just log them in your phone. And then when you have a day where you're like the opposite, where you're like, oh my God,
Uh-huh.
I'm so happy, everything is flowing, this is good, or you just did some fun activity with your family or friends or something, you know, take a few selfies and just compare them.
Compare.
It is
Yeah.
so, it's just, it really, I think, clicks it in that, you know, how important, like, I don't know, it's just
Your
in a culture that's
attitude
like
or,
obsessed with, you know, who doesn't want to look radiant, right? We're
yeah.
all really goddesses, you know, and we feel that and we want to look radiant and we want to look magnetic. And that I think is part of our majoring in the feminine essence here during this
Mhm.
incarnation. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think when you start noticing that, you start realizing that beauty is so much bigger than like
Yeah,
makeup and products
external
and
aesthetic,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I also used to feel sort of, like, superficial about loving beauty or liking beauty products or wanting to look aesthetically pretty until, like, a lot of the teachings you do and other spiritual teachers that show that, like, the feminine mystique is beauty. Like, it's nice to like beautiful things. It's not superficial. It's not, like, trivial. Beauty is, like, what makes life worth
Yeah.
living. Yeah.
Beauty is divine,
Yeah.
right? Like the beauty that we see in nature is divine. The beauty that we see in ourselves is divine. When we
Mhm.
look at each other and the and we see beauty, what we are seeing is the divine in each other, right? And
Mm,
so it makes sense the more that we're connected to the divine in ourselves, the more that that radiates outwards, the
I
more
love that.
people actually, your physical face may not have changed dramatically, but sometimes
Mhm.
it does. Like, I actually feel like there are sometimes where your face will literally change, right?
Mhm.
When you're that, like, I feel like I look
When
different,
you're
whether
in love or
when you're in love or you've just had you're really on that meditation, you're like feeling like
Mhm.
really connected to spirit, or you're really passionate about a new
Yes.
project, right?
Yeah,
Or, you
creative.
know, yeah, you're
Mhm.
in like these kind of like moments. It really does. And I agree. I think beauty is very spiritual. And if we look back to like, I mean, Aphrodite, Isis, like going
Yeah.
back to ancient Egypt, I mean, even,
Mhm.
Cleopatra, like women would adorn themselves,
Right.
and put on this beautiful makeup and put on this
Mhm.
jewelry and these gorgeous gowns. And it was a ritual
Mhm.
to honor the beauty of God,
Yes.
right? That was bestowed. And that if you're, you know, I like to say that, like, yeah, if you decided to incarnate and are choosing to um, own the feminine, right? We all have
Mhm.
both of them, but you're really like grounding yourself in the feminine essence. And that is like part of really, owning that goddess energy, that, like you said, feminine mystique, the Venus
Yeah.
energy, right?
Yeah.
Aphrodite energy. And it's an energy of magnetism, right?
Mhm.
It's a self love ritual that we do for ourselves because we are, enhancing and enjoying and taking care of like a lot of the things that, you talk about. And we need to talk about the sun.
Yes.
But a lot of the things you talk about, those are ways that like we honor our temple. We
Right.
honor our temple, even like doing the facial massage, right?
Yes.
It's saying like I'm so
We're
grateful that
worthy. Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm worthy of these 5 minutes to massage my
Yes.
chin, to massage my cheekbones, to be grateful that I was given this beautiful face, and
Yes.
I'm gonna take care of it. And I'm gonna, just give it a little bit of love and remind myself that like, this is a gift, this body.
Yeah. I love that you bring that up because I spent so much of my 20s kind of battling with the fact that I was a model and it felt very vain and it felt like too superficial. And I would date certain men that you've met that would make that even more so, feel so strongly in myself. And I like that you mentioned that it's like connecting us with divine. And it's also like, making yourself feel worthy and a ritual for yourself and not necessarily for the rest of the world, but to help yourself feel good and magnetic and, radiant.
Ab- Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when you feel good, I think every woman and man knows this on some level, but I think it's especially women. But
Yeah.
like when you're wearing, a dress or an outfit that you love and you feel like your hair looks cute and,
Yeah.
everything's put together, like you are magnetic,
Hmm.
You're like, things just happen,
Things
like
start
things happen
happening.
for me
Yeah.
that day,
Uh-huh.
right?
A good
Because
hair day can do a lot.
right? It's
Yeah.
like, why do we always feel like amazing? And,
Yeah.
why wouldn't we give ourselves that gift every day
Yeah.
or as many days as we can, right?
Yes. Yes. I love that.
So we talked about some of the basics, the face yoga.
Yeah.
I feel like I know Cora's been telling me about face yoga forever, and
I
I'm
know.
inconsistent with it, and I got to make a better
Start
habit.
when you're driving. Start just doing silly things with your face when you're driving. Move it around,
Mm.
put your tongue, stretch it out, go,
I remember this
ah.
one.
Yeah, that one's a
I
good
did
one.
that one for a bit for the neck.
This feels so good. Oh, just letting that go.
We're like lifting our chins up for anyone that's listening
Yeah.
on audio.
Yeah. But if you notice, like skeletally, everything's connected. So if you have tension here, then it's bringing this down, then it's pulling down on this, and like everything's related. So yeah, wherever you feel that tension, just start relaxing it. Wash your
Yeah, and
hands
I think
first.
that's a great, yeah. I'm gonna do that at red lights. But
Mm.
also I like the evening practice. I think it's a
Yeah.
great evening practice to do some affirmations.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the sun because I feel
Yes.
this is such a complicated subject because
Yes.
one, I feel great when I'm in the sun. Like
Mm-hmm.
I actually do try to get, I like walking outside and getting some sunshine in, and even like when I can, like meditating for like 15 minutes outside instead of being inside, because I feel like I get like an infusion of
Yes,
good,
of course.
right?
Yeah. We're
But
just
then
like plants. We need sun. We need that photosynthesis.
yeah, and I think it's like this hot debate because it's
Yeah.
like on one hand it's like, okay, well, too much sun we feel like causes wrinkles and skin cancer, and then sometimes then people try to avoid it totally, which I don't know how you feel about that, because sometimes then I'm like,
No
can't believe
good.
that could be possibly good,
Yeah,
right?
because so many people that happened during COVID is they were avoiding the sun or they weren't outside, and then they're really low in vitamin D, and vitamin D is so good for your immune system. So then it's making COVID even worse. But I think with everything, if for some reason people like to have like one side or the other. There's just extreme, and you have to pick a side. You can't be like, well, what about moderation? But my thoughts on sun is 5 to 15 minutes a day you need. And like if you're under 15 minutes, your skin's not going to get red yet. You're going to be fine. It's not reacting to the sun. But I think anything over the time when your skin starts to flush, like your skin is alerting you that we've had enough. Like we can't take any more sun. It's like a sponge. Like we've soaked in all the sun we can. And now we're actually getting damaged. The DNA is getting damaged. So we're turning red. And it's a protective measure. So for most people, that's different depending on how much melanin you have in your skin, depending on your ethnicity. I can't do much sun. I'm super Irish and white. So, like 15 minutes, and then I make sure that I'm wearing UPF clothing. And I am not a fan of sunscreen. I'm like, I know that's going to be so controversial, and I feel like the sunscreen industry is going to come get me or something. They're crazy. They remind me of like the vaccine industry. They like really if you try to utter to a doctor that you don't really like
Oh yeah.
sunscreen, they'll lose it. But I don't think that chemical sunscreen is good, because if you think about it, like they tell you can't go swimming in the reefs because marine life will be damaged by chemical sunscreen. Like it affects fish, it causes fertility problems, it causes reproductive problems, it hurts dolphins, it hurts coral. And we're not even putting sunscreen on them, right? We're slathering it on
Yeah, that's
ourselves,
just it getting into the water.
and it's just getting in the water, but it's bleaching coral reefs. It's causing so many problems. And yet we don't think that it's doing that to us. I don't know.
I
I'm
agree. I haven't been
very
a
wary.
conventional. I haven't
Yeah.
been I'm lucky because I have, even though I'm very pasty right now, my skin actually has more of an olive tone. And
Yeah.
so for the most part, I can get away with, with going out, at least like you said, for like reasonable amounts of
Yes.
time, not like oiling myself in the sun or
Yeah.
anything
Not
like that,
faking. Right.
but like reasonable amounts of time when I'm doing my like 20-minute meditation outside or something like
Yes.
that, without any issues. But yeah, I've always had an icky feeling about conventional sunscreen. But now
Yeah.
there's this whole new, like, which like they didn't have when, or maybe they did, I don't know, but I didn't see it when we were kids. But
Mineral
now,
sunscreen
yeah,
or,
now we have like
yeah.
mineral sunscreen, and we have
Yeah.
all sorts of more natural options. So what do you think about those?
Yes. Well, we've always had physical sunscreen, which is what mineral sunscreen is. It's using either titanium oxide or zinc oxide. and it's an actual like metal reflectant. So the sun doesn't even get absorbed into your skin, it just gets reflected. And I do think that's safer. If I put sunscreen on my kids, which I rarely do, I really just try to keep them out of the sun or put UPF hats or shirts on them. I'll use that. I will put the physical mineral sunscreen. But the problem with it is I have yet to find one that rubs in well. It leaves that like white
Yeah.
cast.
Oh
It's
my
so
God,
annoying.
my husband does it, and I
Yeah.
like joke that
He
he looks
probably
like
just leaves it.
Casper.
Yeah.
The Casper, he looks
Well,
so bad.
he's a
He
doctor, so
literally
he
looks
knows
like
what
he's
he's doing.
haunting me.
Yeah.
My my husband has like the whitest skin ever. I feel like he's translucent some days.
Well, just have him stand in front of you, and that's a really good bounce and reflector. It makes your skin look great. For all your
Exactly.
photos, you can just have him stand right there. But he's smart. He's at least doing the safer one.
Yeah, of course, but still, so okay, so that kind of makes sense because that's what I was suspecting. So when you're putting that on, you're not getting any of that sun in.
No, no, it's reflecting
Yeah.
it immediately. But I think the better option, which is why my partner and I invented the ARAYA visors, is UPF clothing because it blocks it completely. You're not putting anything on yourself. You can just take it off if you aren't in the sun. So anytime I'm in the sun, I slip on the visor. I don't necessarily do UPF everywhere because I don't hate the sun, but I do know that it causes aging. So I try to keep my face out. And I'll do like a sun bandana, and sometimes I do sun gloves if if I'm driving or something. Just the areas where the skin is super thin and really prone to sun damage and getting a lot of sun. If you think about it, like face, chest, and hands are always in the sun. Even if you're just running errands, even if you're just driving your car, they're like always in the sun. So I just am careful about those three areas. And then everywhere else, I'm pretty lax. I don't really put sunscreen on anywhere else. I don't really do anything crazy. And when
So
I'm on
what
vacation, I get sun if I want.
so what about well, I have a couple questions, but one of the things, so UPF clothing, so UPF or SPF?
UPF is what
Okay, I was like,
we
did I just
use.
make that up?
No, no, SPF is for something that's on your skin. UPF
Okay.
is for clothing. So, yeah.
So what makes if I just have like, let's say, I've seen this sometimes at the beach, right? Where, you know, like moms will just put like a t-shirt on their kids or
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Hmm.
So what is the difference like between wearing like just a regular t-shirt so you don't have that direct sun contact
Yeah.
and like specifically UPF clothing?
Well, shockingly, UV rays can pass through cotton, all sorts of different like materials. So there's a really funny photo on the internet where someone was wearing a t-shirt playing tennis. And the sun just went completely through the t-shirt. They're like totally sunburnt. So unless it's like UPF 50, which is the highest form of UPF you can have, it doesn't block all the sun rays. UPF 50 will block 98 to 100%, but other clothing like linen's not that good, which is weird because people wear linen in like nice
And warm,
sunny
yeah.
areas. Cotton is not good, and it also depends on the color. Like black reflects better, white absorbs. So yeah.
So what is in the UPF clothing, or what material is it that helps balance out the sun?
It can be different. The ones that we use on our Araya has like bandanas, and we use ones that are plant based. So it's like plant oils that reflect UV. Other companies have like certain chemicals that reflect UV. But you can look into every company is different, and you can look into it. But usually it's like a coating. Our visors have a coating on them, kind of like sunglasses, that helps to reflect. But yeah, with clothing, it's usually a chemical or a plant oil.
Yeah. It's so interesting because it's like, yeah, it's just such an interesting concept of
Yes.
thinking about that way. And I think before I met you, I would have never thought about that. Like, thought about having, well, just even, I mean, I think it wasn't until maybe a couple years ago I even noticed that like there was like
Yeah.
some damage here on my chest.
Mhm.
But then what inspired you to be like, I want to make this, you know, like these bandanas so that women can wear them over their chest, and the visors so that they can wear that over their face and they don't have to wear sunscreen.
Well, I was in aesthetic school and I was studying to be an esthetician. And basically, the number one thing you learn in school is the sun is the number one cause of wrinkles. Like 80% of wrinkles are caused by the sun, which is such a crazy number. And that, if you look at the science, the data, it's on Caucasian people. So that number is Caucasian. I'm not sure for everyone else, but it really does weaken the elastin and the collagen fibers in your skin. And it makes it the matrix of your skin, it starts getting looser and then it starts sagging. So I was like, okay, so maybe sunscreen's the answer. But then the more you learn about sunscreen, the more you're like, okay, chemical sunscreens aren't good for you. Physical sunscreens like don't work very well. They're super annoying. And so I wanted something that I could just slap on when I'm going outside. It wasn't going to mess up my makeup. It wasn't going to like mess up my skin, make it oily or break out. And my partner had struggled a lot with hyperpigmentation when she was pregnant. She is Latin, and so she has like darker pigmentation. And so when she was pregnant, she got what's called cloasma, and that's where your hormone surges cause all these different pigmentations in your skin. And she tried so many things, so many lasers. It's so hard to fix once you get it. She did cure it, but it was like, years and thousands of dollars. And we launched our line about a year before she got pregnant with her second kid. She wore it the whole time, zero melasma. So she was like,
Wow.
and I was also pregnant when we were launching it. So it was kind of like, this was our little pet project. We're like, let's see if this works.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was during COVID when we launched. I wasn't allowed to do facials because that was shut down. So I was looking for some sort of business to get into. And I thought about the one thing that I really wish was out there on the market was this.
Yeah. I
So
love it. I think it is, like you said, I think one, just in general, no matter what you feel about sunscreen, I think now we're as a society becoming so much more aware that like we have to be so particular about what we're putting on our face or on our
yeah.
body in general,
Hmm.
right? Like I have a ton of food allergies and I also have sensitivities. So I've been aware of this since I was little because if I am sleeping
Right.
in sheets with that were washed in regular detergent, I
Oh
will break
gosh.
out in full body
Hmm.
rash, right? So I've always had to like make sure that like I bought the kind of like no fragrance, no dyes, no
Hmm.
whatnot stuff. But now we're also seeing how so much of the makeup and the skin products and things we're putting on our face are, especially as women, are endocrine disruptors and
Yes.
have all of these effects that, are just coming, I guess, more publicly out now. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I would try to think like the less I
Hmm.
put on myself, the
Yes.
better, right?
Yeah.
Because also like, yeah, your skin is an organ and it's absorbing
It's
everything
absorbing
from your
everything.
makeup to your serums to your sunscreen.
Yeah.
So I love your visors specifically because I also whenever if I'm wearing sunglasses and I'm reading a book, which is what I usually like to do when I'm outside,
Uh-huh.
um, I notice that I break out. I break out
Oh,
like
from
all
sweat.
around, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
sweating and it's like whatever the material of the sunglasses all. And it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
so nice, like to have the
Yeah.
visor that like blocks the sun. So I like
Yeah,
don't
you don't
have
need
that.
sunglasses. It's already built in.
And then I don't get
Yeah.
like weird like breakouts. And it's also one last thing I have to put on my face
Yes.
because sunscreen for me has always, and I'm gonna get you to recommend if someone is like,
Yeah.
I need a
Yes.
sunscreen and I
Yeah.
cannot, I just
I'll
for
recommend one. Hmm.
I can't wear my visor all the time. There's
Yeah.
something that I need sunscreen for.
Yeah.
I want to hear your recommendation, but I like to take advantage of that too. And the more, especially like, I live in Southern California, right? And so I love to just go on walks and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's so nice to, if I want to like go on a walk, like fresh faced after
Hmm.
I wake up and
Hmm.
not put
And
anything
not
on.
start your morning routine. Yes. I totally get
Yeah.
that. I'm that too. I like have two toddlers. I don't usually have time for the morning routine. By the time they want to go outside, it's like, uh-oh, I got to go now. And like that morning routine is like 10 minutes long. Plus, a lot of people don't know that like your sunscreen is only effective for 2 hours after you put it on. So if you want to go outside in the middle of the day and it's been 2 hours, you got to reapply. What if you already have your makeup on? Like, what if you don't want to do the reapplication? And so, like, the visor is good all day long.
Yeah.
Sunscreen's only good for 2 hours.
Yeah. And I also like the idea. Well, it's really cute. You have these really cute hats for kids as well,
Oh, yeah.
and UPF clothing for kids, which is really nice too. So that
Yeah.
also you don't have to
Put
be,
sunscreen on them.
yeah, or
Yeah.
it's like, especially when I was hanging out with you this summer in Finland and got like a more real experience of what it's like to have two little ones, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like one less thing,
Yeah.
right? To be
Yeah.
able to just like have them dressed for the day, have their like cute little UPF clothing on,
Right.
and then like know that at least that's taken care of. You don't have to be like
Yeah.
thinking every 2 hours, let me reapply, and
Oh my
then
gosh.
having them cry.
Yeah.
while they're-
Trying to wrangle a 2-year-old to put sunscreen on. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay. So, but what would you recommend? Let's say someone's like, I still want a sunscreen
Mhm.
option.
Okay. I have a couple recommendations for your kids. There's a couple really great ones. One is Badger and one is Think Baby. They both are really good, super clean. They're physical sunscreens. And they don't really rub in that great, which is why I'm not recommending them for adults. But for adults, if you're trying to put something on underneath makeup, I would recommend Biossance has a good one. I think, I don't know what it's called. I think it's just their mineral sunscreen. It's in like a blue tube, but I really like them. It goes on smooth. And I have it. I just like literally never remember to use it. Or if I remember, I put it on and then I'm still in the house after 2 hours by the time I want to go out. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that was useless. But those are for people who are really like good at that and don't have toddlers maybe and are able to
Yeah.
get their morning routine together. Biossance has a good one.
Okay, cool. I'll put those links below if you guys want to check that out, as well as the links to the visors as well, because I think having both, like that's just kind of how I am, like always have both just in
Yeah.
case, and it just depends on like
Yeah,
what I'm doing that day,
exactly. Yeah.
So the other thing that I've noticed, this is really interesting, and I'm curious if you like know more from a wisdom standpoint about this, because I just did this with trial and error, is that I noticed that when I'm actually eating really healthy and drinking a lot of water, I
Yeah.
am much less likely to sunburn in the
Oh,
sun.
yeah.
Whereas when back in the day when I used to drink alcohol or I would just like eat kind of crappier foods, I would
Yes.
get like a lobster.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's was such a dramatic difference. And I was like, kind of same me, similar
Yeah.
environments, like island kind of vacation kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? And just the difference between my hydration and the foods I was putting in my body
Mhm.
totally affected how
Mhm.
my skin related to the sun.
Yeah. Well, this is going to get kind of sciencey, but basically it's like your body is flooded by free radicals, and that can come from alcohol. It can come from like toxic foods or like gluten or sugar or whatever, certain things that aren't good for you. The sun is also one of those. So the more free radicals that are floating around in your body that are not paired up, they're kind of like, think of like a single girl at a bar and she's just like bumping into people and she's like, or a single guy, whatever. They're alone and they're wrecking havoc and they're trying to like pull boyfriends or girlfriends off and they really want to be stable. They want to. And so what you need to be doing is having a lot of antioxidants, and that's with like fruits, vegetables, omegas, eating healthy. And when you have more of those in your system, your body can take more free radicals without noticing. So your body can maybe take more sun exposure and not hit that limit of like, oh no, this is too much, because it's got all these other good things going on. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Oh
that's
yeah.
like a visual that helped me is like the loose cannon at the bar that's like solo and
Yeah,
looking to
that's
grab.
that's trying to find stability.
Trying to find stability. Yeah. Your body's trying to find stability at all times. So, and also you'll notice things like antibiotics. If you're ever on antibiotics, you will get burned so fast.
Yep,
Yeah.
'cause it's like imbalancing your gut.
Yeah. Yes.
Everything is a mess after on antibiotics for a
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
You got to do your probiotics and
Oh, yeah.
everything. It's
Yeah.
it's wild because, and even if you think about that, like how obviously I'm a big proponent of our body's wisdom and body intuition, right? And
Hmm.
when you are in those like overtly, like, you're on a tropical vacation, you notice, like, I don't know about anyone else, but like I'm someone that, like, if I'm at home, like, I mean, I'm from New Jersey, so like I could go for a bagel, that's how I was raised, like,
Yeah.
eating that kind of stuff in the morning. And living in California and just educating myself, I don't eat that as much. But but when you're on a tropical island, I mean, you rarely wake up and are like, I want a bagel or I
No,
want
fruit.
oatmeal or no, you want like fruit, you want
Yeah.
smoothies, right?
Yeah.
You're so like you're not craving these like heavier,
Heavy stuff. Yeah.
denser foods. You're like fruit, vegetables. I want
Yeah.
a salad for lunch because you're like in the sun. It's like your
Yes.
body is trying to tell you,
It's
like,
trying to get antioxidants. Mm-hmm.
these are the good
Yeah.
foods to eat.
Yeah.
And most of the classical, a lot of those like acai bowls and
Yes.
those kinds of things, right? They come from those warmer
Tropical. Yeah.
cultures,
Yeah.
right?
And a lot of really cool fruits and berries from areas like that, like amla berry is a good one, are really good at protecting against the sun. And there's this line called Hylunia that I really love, and they use amla berry a lot. And it's so helpful for fighting free radicals and like other different fruits and nut oils and things like that are really good. Actually, Hylunia has also a really good facial day lotion that has titanium oxide in it. So that's another one people could use. It's really cool because it's mixed with vitamin C. So it's kind of like you could use it as your vitamin C serum plus your moisturizer plus your SPF. So it's like 3 in 1 for people who want to save
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
I think it's called the triple action something or other, or the facial day lotion. But that's a great one.
I'm writing it down so I can
Yeah.
try to find it.
But yeah, the reason I love a lot of brands that like use the Ayurvedic wisdom is because they think about things like that. They think about things in food that helps your body, and they have so much knowledge for centuries on centuries of like things that people intuitively knew to pair with the sun or to pair with winter or to pair with whatever you're going through, whatever your skin dosha is, and like adapt to it.
Yeah. So that kind of brings me to going through I know I wanted us to go through for different age groups,
Oh
for
yeah.
different stages, right? Kind of
Yeah.
like, what is your skincare prescription? And maybe it could be both, kind of the way that you would apply the different products or products that you should have in your kind of wheelhouse. And
Okay.
also, I don't know if there are any supplements you recommend as well for skin, but if there are any
Oh
supplements you
yeah.
want to shout out.
There's a really good one, astaxanthin, I think it's called. It's
Hmm.
like that Hawaiian algae. It's so amazing for your skin. But any like algae is really, really good for your skin. My husband's company, Four Sigmatic, makes this really amazing. I should know the name of it. Oh my God, I'm blanking on it. It's a red powder.
Oh, okay.
It's
I
like
know
the beauty.
the red berry powder,
Yeah,
right?
it's like the red
Okay.
berry
I'll find.
powder.
I know what you're
But
talking
it
about.
has like such really great things for your skin, like vitamin C. It has all these antioxidant berries. It's got beetroot juice, which is really good at stabilizing blood sugar. And too much sugar is really bad for your skin as well. So it's got all these like great things.
Yeah, you made me
But
a super yummy, like kind of like dessert beverage
oh
with that,
yeah, yes,
right?
yes, yes. That was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a little. We used like it was just like coconut milk in that, right?
It was
Yeah.
the Four Sigmatic coconut milk powder, and it was this, yeah, this thing that I can't remember the name of, mom brain, but yeah.
Okay.
But I don't do many supplements right now. I'm trying to think of in the past what I would do. Gosh, taking vitamin C is great for you. Like you can't overdose on vitamin C, as far as I know. Like you could take as much of that as you want. I think omegas are really, really good for your skin. Do you remember when I had you do the Dr. Pericone diet,
Yes.
like the 3-day diet? So if you're not vegan, this is not for you, but it's salmon. It's a lot of salmon. And salmon is really good for your skin. That's not a supplement, but it is like maybe fish oil you could take is really good for your skin.
They
I
have
don't think what else.
vegan fish oil too. I think it's
Yeah.
algae fish oil,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's an
So there you
option
go.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. Algae. I don't know. I try to cut down on supplements, but it's interesting because everything that's good for your health is good for your skin. So
Yeah,
anything that's like healthy, like
it's
wheatgrass
all
or
yeah.
chlorella, or like it's all the same. It's all the same stuff.
That's I love that. So okay, so
Yeah.
product wise,
Product
what
wise.
are
Yeah.
our like must have
Must haves.
products?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's do two, and instead of defining it by age,
Yeah.
let's say
Maybe morning and night or something, or
no, let's say like one if let's say you're in the early stages where you're either like just starting to see some fine lines and
okay.
wrinkles and want to, keep your skin radiant and
Yeah.
plump. And then maybe someone that is a little bit older that already has some age
Okay.
marks going, like what's their best kind of bet?
Okay. Okay, the number one thing I think everyone needs is a vitamin C serum. And I really love Hylunia's vitamin C serum. There's something about the texture, it penetrates really well into your skin, it makes you so glowing. And I started using it when I was training at Face House. And every client that I put it on would like freak out. They'd be like, "What is this? This looks so good. I'm so radiant." So I was like, okay, I got it. This is my holy grail of products. It's like my little trick. So everyone needs a vitamin C. I don't care your age, and that's really good to put on during the day because it helps against UV damage, and it helps to get rid of hyperpigmentation. It helps brighten your skin. So everyone needs that. And then I think like a high quality, like high antioxidant cream to put on at night. Maybe like something that's got hyaluronic acid. I'm sure most of your listeners have heard of hyaluronic acid. It helps your skin look dewy, fresh. It retains moisture. And when you sleep at night is when a lot of the epidermal moisture loss happens and when your skin gets dehydrated. So if you can put on a hyaluronic moisture, again, the one by Hylunia is like my absolute favorite because a lot of times you put those on and then when you put something on after it, it like rolls and feels really weird. I don't know if you've ever had that with hyaluronic serum, but this one, I don't know, it goes so smooth that you can put on your moisturizer after and it's like cake. But
Nice.
those are two of the products I think. And I know I
Everyone should
kind of
have.
said three, but like that's three. But that's for, 20s, 30s. And then when you're getting into 40s, 50s, I think everyone should probably start using retinol. And I have yet to use retinol because I feel like I've been pregnant or breastfeeding for the last 5 years. But like one of these days, I'm going to use it and I'm going to tell everyone what I think about it. But everyone else loves it.
Retinol is tricky. I started using retinol um I don't know, maybe a year ago. My
Uh-huh.
dermatologist gave me some, and because I have a little difficult, you can't really see it on this. I have a little bit of discoloration and stuff above my upper lip. It's just I don't know.
Uh-huh.
We don't know what it's from, but we're like, oh, he's like, well, just this is kind of
Probably the
like,
sun.
well, I don't know. I really think it's more of like I don't know. It's something that happen, I think, hormonally because it's not
Uh-huh. Okay.
like
Yeah.
it's not like sun damage.
Okay.
It's yeah, we mysteries out.
Mystery,
But
yeah. Probably hormonal.
but yeah, so they say it's actually people said that it's common. It happens with certain women, but
Mm-hmm.
then as your hormones balance out, it'll just mysteriously go away one day too. So
Huh.
the just some of the feminine mystique
Great.
we get to deal
Oh
with,
my
right?
God, right? Yeah.
But anyway, I started doing it, and retinol is a little bit tricky because your
Yeah.
skin does peel,
It does
right? It's part
feel.
of the
Yeah.
process. So it was really hard for me, being that like I'm on camera a lot,
Yes.
to look like my skin was
Yeah.
peeling.
That's
So I
another
kind
reason
of
I didn't use it in my 20s. Yeah. It's
yeah,
you
I
have to
stepped
really
away from
get
it.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
You,
I think yeah, eventually, I think That's what
Yeah.
my dermatologist said too. He said that
Yeah.
that is the most powerful like thing also against wrinkles if you're
Hmm.
not going to go into like Botox or treatments or
Yeah.
anything like that.
It's the most researched and most data driven product or ingredient that they have. So I think retinol is really great. If you don't want to do something like that extreme, I think just upping the amount of exfoliation you do. So doing like a glycolic peel maybe 2 to 3 times a week, or using like niacinamide is another really good exfoliant. But you just want to up the amount of exfoliation as you age, because as you age, the rate of cell turnover drops, and that's what makes you look youthful, is getting that dull skin off the top of the face and getting the fresh skin underneath. So you want to like trick your skin into regenerating itself by sloughing off the dead skin just more and more.
On that, I've been seeing this new thing. I think it's called dermaplaning.
Yes, I
Where,
love dermaplaning.
okay, tell me about this. Because I
So
first saw this and it's like a mini little like
yeah,
razor stick thing and you
yeah,
shave your face essentially.
yeah, it's a little blade. Were you seeing it as a at-home device or something you can go to the esthetician and do
I got an at-home device because I
at
was
home?
just trying
Yeah,
to
I
figure out what
mean,
it
it's
was.
one of the reasons, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why men tend to age better and have like better skin. It's because they're shaving every day. It's also
Mm.
testosterone helps their skin so they age better, but
Not
shaving
fair.
does exfoliate your skin. So as long as you're using a device that's like stays very clean and hygienic, the at-home ones are really cool. I also like going to the esthetician once a month or every 3 months or so and doing the dermaplaning there. And yeah, they just have a little blade and they scrape off the dead skin and it looks really great. But you do have to be aware that your skin is super susceptible to sun damage after that. So put your visor on.
Put that visor on.
Put that visor on. Yeah.
Okay, so much good stuff. And like I think let's just close out because on I want your opinion because I know you've worked at different esthetician offices.
Hmm.
So let's say, for me like Botox and fillers makes me a little nervous because the idea
Hmm.
of like putting something in my body that I feel like could be a toxin or whatnot. I have no judgment around it and I'm not like completely closed off to it, but it's something that like just from like my holistic health
Yeah.
perspective makes me a little nervous. What
Right.
I am really intrigued by is that there are a lot of these other treatments out there now, like the Morpheus, and I
Hmm.
mean, we all saw that like popularity of like the vampire facial,
Right.
and I feel like there's all these like kind of like trendy non-injectable things going on.
Right.
I'm curious, out of all of the kind of
Hmm.
like hype, if there was one or two that you really think are like worth the investment and that really make a difference, what would you recommend, if any? Or do you think the move, if you're looking for a non invasive thing, is really to just be on your sun and on your skincare and doing your face
Yeah.
and all
I
that?
mean, I would say there's a couple things that are non-invasive that are really great. One of them is red light. I don't know if you use any red light masks at home, but I think
I
that's one
don't.
thing
Do I
that
need one
people,
now?
yeah, you got to get one. I really love the brand Higher Dose. They have a red light mask. If you put it on, it's kind of like what it was explained to me in aesthetic school is like photosynthesis for your skin. So your DNA like gets the red light penetrates into the DNA, helps regenerate it instead of like going in with a needle or whatever. You can specifically pinpoint the DNA and get it to, it gives it more energy. It like recharges the cell. And so it's
Oh
like
wow.
photosynthesis. So I really love Higher Dose. If you use code ARAYA15, you can get 15% off. It's a really good company. I think if you can do red light at home, like that's something super great that you don't need to go to the med spa to do. If you want to do something in the med spa that's less invasive,
Wait, and would you do that every day, Cora? If you
I
had a red
could,
light mask, would
yeah,
you do it every
yeah,
day? Okay.
yeah, yeah. I think as long as you can do like 10 minutes a day or like 10 minutes 3 times a week or something, and you can do it while you're meditating or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great thing to do while you're meditating.
yeah.
Like
It
literally just
really,
put it on, lay down, do your thing.
yeah. It's like non invasive. not a lot of like, there's no downside. So it's just all upside. And then there's certain things that like you can do like that are injectables that aren't toxins. Like you could do your own PRP injected into your face. Have you heard of this? Where it's like,
Is that with
it's
the
not
blood where they
filler.
take your?
They
Okay.
take your blood and they put it in a centrifuge and they spin it and then they put the plasma back in. So it's basically like helping your skin to fix itself, repair itself. It's kind of like, it's not stem cells, but it's like giving it back like food. So it makes it look puffy and rejuvenated for a couple days. But beyond that, there's like more repair. So if you're not icky about needles, that's a like non-invasive one, or not, it is invasive, but it's not like toxin or foreign substance. I think for lasers, there's one that Nurse Jamie does. It's not the Morpheus. Gosh, I don't know why I'm blanking on it. I think it's Opus. And it's same kind of idea as Morpheus, but it doesn't hurt. So it is like a fractal laser and it helps your skin regenerate better. There's not a lot of downtime. It's pretty pricey. So it's not like accessible to everybody. But I think if you have decided you're going to do it, I think the Opus is a really good one. Microneedling is also great. It's less expensive. It's something you could do like 3 times a year, and that would be really helpful for your skin. But I do think you want to limit the amount of things you do to your skin that disrupts the barrier, which is like exfoliating, peels, lasers, microneedling. If you're constantly doing that, your skin's just like irritated. It might get red. It might get splotchy. You might get like infections because skin barrier is supposed to protect from all sorts of like pathogens in the air and around us. So you just want to make sure you're not doing too much. Like don't do too much. Do like
Yeah.
three things a year. Like other than that, be really nice to your skin. Have non-inflammatory ingredients in your products, like eat non-inflammatory food, like calm, restore, nice things.
I love
Say
it.
nice things to yourself, all of that.
Yes. I love it. Well, thank you, Cora. This has been so informative. I feel like now I have like a laundry list of like things I need to do too.
Oh gosh, I hope it's not too long. I tried to keep it pretty short, but
No,
yeah.
I think it's good. I think, people can just start where they're at, right?
Yeah,
Like
start where
I'm
you're
going to
at.
start with my face yoga first,
Mhm.
Christmas is coming. So I feel like that red light mask,
Yes.
I already have 2 visors. But for those of you, Christmas is also coming for the
Yes.
visors. Although I feel like the
Yeah.
visors are very affordable. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much the red light mask is. I'm just assuming that's more expensive.
I think it's a couple hundred, not too
Okay, so not
crazy.
that bad.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think it's
so
$300. Yeah.
oh, okay. That's not as bad as I thought
Yeah.
either.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
but
yeah, I think it's
minimize
just like
sun, number 1, and then, do some really nice products. Maybe do a red light mask, that's step 3. Step
yeah,
4 would be doing something like a laser or microneedling or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
But yeah, I totally and I highly recommend for anyone that's listening, if you're curious, there's like 2 different lengths of visors. She has one that's like a little bit shorter. I have this like really cute one that's like short that has like a gold reflection. Is it
Yeah.
called the
The
champagne?
sassy
The
the
sassy?
sassy and champagne. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
all the golden ones.
Yeah, and then we
Golden
also have a
goddess.
bigger one that like covers the whole face.
Mhm.
That's really good for like when I'm like laying down, like reading
Yeah.
and all that because I feel like it also gets a little bit of my chest,
It does get a little bit of your chest. Yeah.
which is nice. But I love the visors because I think it's one of the things we all have like so many things to do and like
Yeah.
so many things on our list that it's nice that it could just be something that you just have with you. I keep mine in my car usually so
Yeah.
that, if I'm like running around, it's like I can
Yeah.
just pop it on. And it's one less thing to
Good.
think
Yeah.
about,
I hate products that make my life harder. And I feel like this
Exactly.
makes your life easier. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Sometimes
we'll
with skincare products, I'm like, oh, great. Now I have to do this.
exactly. I'm like another thing to add to the
Another
routine that
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
already feels like it's so long.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
love it. And I love the reframe of also thinking like our skincare practice and these things that we do we honor our God, like the goddess within, and it's our
Yes.
divine beauty rituals. And
Yeah.
so taking those few minutes in the morning to, you know, put your vitamin C serum on or whatever it is that you're
Mm-hmm.
doing there, you know, grabbing your visor. These are all little things that we do out of self-love,
Yeah.
right? And out of like honoring our temple and taking care of ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you so
Yeah.
much
Well,
for
thank
being
you.
here. It
Oh, it
was a
was so
pleasure.
wonderful. I love
And
talking to you.
we're going to put all the links below. I'm going to try
Okay.
to get as many of the links to the things that Cora shouted out as
Yes.
possible.
Oh, and I forgot to mention all the Hylunia. If you use code Cora30, you get 30% off.
Whoa. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
writing, I'm going to
yeah.
write all the Cora 30 just for
Cora30.
that.
It's good till I think November 12th or something.
I will put all of it below so that you guys
Yeah.
can find it. And if you have any questions or if you're like, oh, I can't figure out, you know, exactly what that is, I'm also going to put Cora's
Yes.
Instagram as well as
Yeah.
Array
Message me.
Advisors Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and you can message her on either one of them, and I know she'll help you out
Oh,
and
yeah. I love
get
getting
you to that
questions. So, yeah,
place.
ask me anything.
Yay! All right. Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time on Divine Downloads.